So this is session 2 of Why Jesus Came. And we said yesterday that we're looking at his coming for the reason of showing us what God is like. Jesus only did what he saw the Father doing. He only spoke words that he heard from his Father. So what are some of the things that he showed us about God? In John's account of Jesus' life, the first action he did after he'd called some disciples was to go into the temple, and he drove out the money changers and the people selling animals. Now, if we're reading the Synoptic Gospels, the other Gospels, then this account happens in the very last week of Jesus' life. But John puts it here first for a very good reason, because he's wanting to say something important about what our priorities should be. Now, the people selling animals were selling them so people could sacrifice them. And an animal for sacrifice had to be without blemish, so they were selling good quality animals. It was a very needed service. The money changers were changing the local money for the temple money so that they could pay for the sacrifices and pay temple tax. So they too were carrying out an important and a needed service. The only trouble was that they were, instead of doing their best for God, they were actually just making money out of it. No longer aiming to do their best for God, they were satisfying themselves in the guise of being godly. And that's the hypocrisy that enraged Jesus. John 2:16, how dare you turn my Father's house into a market? False worship, hollow worship is anathema to God. Going through the motions without a genuine heart is the worst thing we can do. The prophet Amos gave a similar message, and he was writing about 750 BC. And this is the message from God to the people back then. I despise your religious feasts. I cannot stand your assemblies. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I'll have no regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. God is not impressed by worship that does not come from the heart and is not lived out in our daily lives. The temple was meant to draw people to God. They were meant to be able to see his glory there. Now, the outer court of the temple was the court of Gentiles, because non-Jewish people were allowed to go into that court, and the idea was that they would be drawn to God by seeing the glory of the temple. After all, that was the very mission of the Jewish people, to draw others to God. But the court of the Gentiles was where these money changers and animal sellers were, just making money. So rather than see the glory of God, Gentiles were just seeing corruption, and that, of course, would have put them off completely. Jesus coming into the world as a human being shows us God's genuine love for us. How can such genuine love be met with hypocrisy? It's just not on. And Jesus showed us that this is the most important thing: genuine worship, genuine love.
When the music fades and all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's a word that will bless your heart. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within than the way things appear. You're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the things I've made. When it's all about you, it's all about you, Jesus. King of endless word, no one could express how much you song